From Hampton, Georgia, the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series is ready to pound the asphalt in the Peach State. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Independence Racing Network. As a team, EE Motorsports has 7 wins this season, but FERDA's Mike Wright has 8 trips to victory lane so far, all to his own credit. Who will capture the checkered flag tonight here at the newly reimagined Atlanta Motor Speedway? Turn up the volume to find out. I'm Dave Regal here in the broadcast booth, and I'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag on the Independence Racing Network. And folks, glad to have you in with us tonight as qualifying underway here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Of course, as was just mentioned, this is newly reimagined, so things are a little bit different here. New asphalt, new layout. You know, everything is a lot faster right now here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And last night in the Davis Brothers Roofing SNN Cup Series, Charles Eaton got his first win and first win of the season. And, you know, a lot of this almost kind of behaves like a super speedway right now. And we're going to take a look here at Jeff Carson driving the number 9 Toyota Supra, sponsored by Napa Auto Parts. Right now, he has shot to the top of the leaderboard, and we will take a look here as he is laying down his second qualifying lap, as he is now knocked down to third, but we will see how he finishes up. Chris Claude, your Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series commissioner, in the number 10 Dasani Water Toyota Supra, now showing P2 as he has finished his qualifying effort. Of course, only 7 drivers have qualified so far this evening, but, you know, things just getting underway here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Things started to heat up as far as competition on the season. As, you know, our point standings, I'm not saying they're tight by any stretch of the word. I'm sorry. As, you know, Mike Wright sits atop the pile ahead of Bobby Blazer by 158 points. Now, keep in mind, Mike Wright has 8 wins to his credit. Bobby Blazer just 4. Of course, that is not the only factor when you're trying to figure out the points this season. However, you know, Bobby Blazer also has 10 top 5s and 12 top 10s to his credit. Robert Nestor, your Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series commissioner, driving the number 29 Relative Properties Toyota Supra, is sitting in third right now on your point standings for the season. And, you know, the one thing that he has done this season so far is be extremely consistent. Week in and week out, he's finishing these races. He's getting it done. The only thing he hasn't done yet is find victory lane. Then just behind Bob Nestor is Jeff Carson, who currently, after his initial qualifying effort, Jeff Carson now P9 in the number 9 Napa Auto Parts Toyota Supra. And Jeff Carson, another driver with no wins, but 3 top 5s and 8 top 10s on the season. One thing that you'll note here, and actually let's just cover 5th position right now, John Bawalda, who is basically at this point 410 points away from the lead, but just 13 points away from overtaking Jeff Carson, who we have just been talking about. You know, one of the things that is different here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, brought to you by RS Button Box's Butt Kicker, and of course, proudly presented on the Independence Racing Network by Northeastern Fire and Air. One of the big changes this season is that we are following what's called incidents per lap. And basically, it is the way that we measure how safe a driver is out here on track. Of course, elsewhere on the iRacing.com servers, you can see, you know, safety ratings and license classes and and I ratings that can determine the skill of a driver, but we don't have those metrics in the private leagues like this. So, that being said, as we do look down on Tony Burt driving the number 4 Chevrolet Camaro out here, Tony Burt with a new paint scheme out here on track, as it looks like he is about to clear it out. Just 14 drivers have qualified so far this evening. Anyway, the incidents per lap that I'm talking about here it's actually kind of interesting. Basically, for however many incidents you wind up with, during a race, whether it's for every car to car contact that is made, you get 4 incident points. Then, if you rub the wall, you may get 2 incident points. If you're off track, you may get one. So, what that does is it changes the average of how many of those incident points you're getting per race. And it can determine with, darn near certainty how safe of a driver you are. Are you in a spot where you're continually bounced around? Like myself last night, bounced around unintentionally by another driver on the track for Cup Series? Or are you out there thinking that there's a snowplow attached to the front of that Chevrolet that you have? In fact, Zachary Vaughn, who we're going to look at right now in the number 91 Toyota Supra, going out to make his qualifying effort. One of those drivers last night who thought he had a snowplow attached to the front of his car in the Cup Series and ruined a couple of nights there. But tonight, it's a fresh night. It's a new night. I'm safely ensconced here in our Conshohocken, Pennsylvania studios, and Zachary Vaughn out there on the racetrack. So he is going to go out here and lay his first lap down as he is going to go here. Let's just take a look. As you can see our position and standings there as they stand right now as far as qualifying has gone. These drivers out here, he will be the 15th driver to take to the track with just about 3 minutes, just about 2.5 minutes now of qualifying time remaining.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
And qualifying still underway, but we are waiting for any other drivers to take to the track, as 15 drivers tonight have now decided to go out and lay down a qualifying time. Mike Wright currently sitting atop the pile, as it just seems as normal at this point. The usual suspects, Josh Ward right now sitting in P2. And folks, if you are just tuning in, welcome in to the Independence Racing Network, bringing you the exclusive MNN Xfinity Series action here, brought to you proudly by Northeastern Fire and Air, RS Button Boxes, and Butt Kicker. If you are just tuning in on YouTube.com, thank you for coming along with us. Carlos Ramos is cheering on EE Sports. Bobby Blazer, Ian Madhelm, John Timms, and Dylan. And I guess Carlos Ramos, listen, I understand that you're on vacation this week. I'm pretty sure that wherever you are is probably nicer than sitting in a racing rig right now. And Jack Dow Motorsports complimenting my my Xfinity Series T-shirt hanging here in the broadcast studio just outside Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Of course, that was a free giveaway down at Dover Motor Speedway in Delaware. And Jack Dow Motorsports, thank you for paying attention to what's going on. Of course, Jack Dow Motorsports, the proud sponsor of the number 51 Chevrolet, driven by John S. Bawalda III, our Tuesday Night Thunder Truck Series commissioner. And John Bawalda, one heck of a person himself, a veteran of our armed services here in this country. So we do thank him, as always, for his service. And now it looks like we are about to be taking the grid here. So let's get a look at the grid. And we see, just as I had mentioned a moment ago, Mike Wright sits atop the pile. He will be the pole sitter with Josh Ward on the outside of row one. Row 2 going to be made up of Mr. Joseph Lester, my colleague at Sim Racing Media. You can check him out on a Sunday night calling the race for Sunday Night NASCAR, brought to you by Davis Brothers Roofing. Speaking of Sunday Night NASCAR's Davis Brothers Roofing Cup Series, your Cup Series commissioner, Chris Claude, sitting on the outside of row number 2 in the number 10 Dasani Toyota Supra. Matt White has yet to grid yet, but he will be on the inside of row 3 with Eugenio Alonso in the number 86 Chevrolet on the outside of row 3. Row 4 made up of Aaron Mack and Brandon Minto in the number 12 Chevrolet Camaro. Row 5 going to be made up of Zach Osborne in the number 16 Toyota with new to the Xfinity Series Tyler Greger in the 05 on the outside. Row 6 made up of Mr. Jeff Carson in the number 9 Napa Auto Parts Toyota Supra with Zachary Vaughn, brought to you by This Is Not a Plow Truck in the number 91 Toyota Supra. Bob Nestor, your Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series commissioner, on the inside of row number 7, driving the number 29 Relative Properties Toyota Supra with Tony Burt, a Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series regular. And I'll tell you what, Tony Burt, absolutely one of the best human beings out on the racetrack tonight. Absolutely a courteous race car driver and very respectful, amazing man. And glad to see him back out here with the crowd tonight. As John Bawalda, your Tuesday Night Thunder Truck Series commissioner, in the number 51 Jack Dow Motorsports Chevrolet Camaro, with Bobby Blazer, Dylan Ackert, John Timms, and Ian Humphreys in the number 32. Everything just suddenly shuffled around here as some drivers have just blinked in and missed the start. That'll bring Matt Mackin in the 01 Chevrolet with Matthew Helm on the outside of row 9. Row 10 going to be made up of Matt White. However, he will be starting from the pit, as Tyler Greger going to also be starting from the pit along with Aaron Mack. Starting shotgun on the field, if he decides to come out here tonight, will be Jared Phillips in the number 87 Chevrolet. But right now, we are going to focus on these cars that have taken the field here at the beginning of this race. All 18 of them, 9 rows of cars side by side behind the iRacing.com pace car, as Mike Wright and Josh Ward going to be leading this field down through Atlanta Motor Speedway. And we see the iRacing.com pace car diving down pit road. One thing left to do: settle in, call a friend, grab some popcorn, and get ready, because we have green flag racing in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series here on the Independence Racing Network. Mike Wright jumps out to an early lead, but that outside line led by Joseph Lester and pushed by Josh Ward, working the nice high side there with Chris Claude in tow. And we see Chris Claude working just over top of Zach Osborne. Zach Osborne, of course, towing along Jeff Carson. Carson slides out behind Chris Claude here on the high side, as now your race leader is Joseph Lester with Josh Ward running P2 just behind him. It goes Lester, Ward, Wright, and Claude here atop the pile, as Chris Claude now passing Mike Wright for P3 now. And it looks like Mike Wright may be going into tire-saving mode. He is an absolute wizard when it comes to saving tires. And just behind him, this is where some of the knots are going to form, as Jeff Carson trying to side draft a little bit on the outside of Zach Osborne. Brings himself back into line and falls into step with what appears to be Josh Ward there on the high side. We go back a little bit further, and we see Tony Burt working the low side of Zachary Vaughn of the number 91 Toyota Supra, as Tony Burt going to be chasing down Bob Nestor in the number 29 Relative Properties Toyota Supra. A lot of Toyotas out in the field tonight, folks, as Bobby Blazer here in the Ford here. There's only 2 Fords in your top 12. Bobby Blazer's one of them, Mike Wright the other. in the top 12. Only 3 Fords altogether in the field tonight at all. And your third Ford tonight, driven by Tyler Greger in the 05 U.S. Army Ford Mustang. Joseph Lester in the number 18 Toyota Supra leads this race right now, but don't look away for 1 second, as it looks like Josh Ward is going to be pushing him now side by side with Jeff Carson in the number 9. Carson working the low side, being pushed by his teammate and team owner, Chris Claude. Claude gets close to that red and white there by the apron. And we can see so far this evening in stage number 1 that the racing is tight, it is hot, and it is down and dirty here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And folks, welcome in. Glad to have you with us here on YouTube. I am Dave Regal in the Conshohocken, Pennsylvania studios. Whoa! Eugenio Alonso steps out of line, goes to the low line, out of bounds, and is now going to step back into line behind Tony Burt. Pennsylvania studios of the Independence Racing Network, brought to you by Northeastern Fire and Air. We are proudly presented, of course, by Northeastern Fire and Air, RS Button Boxes, and Butt Kicker. Welcome into the YouTube.com feed. Roman is saying, go Lester. And I'll tell you what, Joseph Lester, one heck of a talented driver here in the early goings at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We look further back here in the pack. John Timms here in the number 46, chasing down John Bawalda and Dylan Ackert, as John Bawalda working the high side. Dylan Ackert in the number 66. Those two drivers are teammates, the 66 to 46 and the 32. Ackert, Timms, and Humphreys right here in a low front line. And Matthew Helm also in the EE Motorsports family here in the number 25. So EE Motorsports running 14, 15, 16, and 17 here with Matt Mackin in the 01, the first one not to be part of the EE Motorsports family back there, as it looks like these drivers just going to be logging laps and trying desperately to stay out of trouble. And speaking of trouble, it is getting tight here at the front of this pack. We can see that Zachary Vaughn in the number 91 Toyota Supra has now gotten himself involved in a dance up here just behind Brandon Minto, Bob Nestor, and Zach Osborne. And as we go through, we can take a look right here from the inside of Chris Claude's machine, that number 10 Dasani. And we will take a look here from our gyro cam in the cockpit of Chris Claude. And we can see that Chris Claude is just flat out, but backing off the throttle ever so gently, as he doesn't want to suddenly be eating his teammate Jeff Carson's bumper. And Chris Claude, of course, the pride here of Fairview, Tennessee, and of course the Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series commissioner. Chris has assembled quite a group of drivers here in the Monday Night NASCAR and Tuesday night ranks, as these guys week in and week out are working to make this racing all the more exciting. And speaking of exciting, it looks like Josh Ward not trying to pass Joseph Lester right now, but he is definitely keeping it exciting atop this pile. As, of course, less than 1/10 of a second is going to be separating these drivers, as it's just barely less than 1/10 of a car length. Folks, as I had mentioned earlier, we do have stage racing here in the MNN Xfinity Series, brought to you by RS Button Boxes and Butt Kicker. Of course, lap 40 will end stage number 1. So at the conclusion of lap number 40, we will have a competition caution, and then the field will be reset, and we will go for stage 2. Stage 2 will end after lap number 80. So when the 10th place car crosses the start-finish line on lap number 81, that will end stage 2. And then, of course, there will be an 83-lap run to the end for stage number 3. So lots of racing to go here as we are on lap number 13 of 163 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. You are watching MNN Xfinity Series action here on the Independence Racing Network. Dave Regal bringing you all of the action. I'm here on the ones and twos and everything in between. Glad to have all of you watching us tonight as we are just 13 laps in here in Georgia. And I'll tell you what, we are about 1.5 hours from the Dawsonville pool room where, of course, that siren had run last night as Chase Elliott took home the checkered flag here in Atlanta. And, you know, I will admit that I am somewhat of a homer when it comes to, you know, Chase Elliott, as he is one of those Hendrick drivers. And me personally, I'm a Hendrick fan. I'm sorry if you're not, but I am. And, you know, here's the thing. It's always neat when a driver gets to win on their home track. I don't care who you are or where your home track is. It's just a really neat experience. And speaking of neat experiences, Tony Burt, in his return to the ranks here of the MNN Xfinity Series, is moving slowly but surely up the ranks here as he is +6 from where he had begun. So running in 8th and 9th position now as he is trading positions back and forth with Brandon Minto, who he is working the inside of. But don't look now, it looks like John Bawalda and Zachary Vaughn at number 91 going to be working their way up to see if they can put a little bit of a pressure here on Tony Burt and Bob Nestor. Mike Wright, your points leader right now, running 5th position, down 4 spots from where he had started. But you know what? In a race like this, it's almost better to be running in about 3rd or 4th, to be there in that catbird so that you can get a good run late in a stage and see if you can get some bonus points there at the end of a stage, or more excitingly, of course, when those checkers fly on lap number 163. Mike Wright, you know, right now running in 5th, not really sweating it. You know, he's able to conserve some fuel back there as he doesn't have to be wide open. And quite frankly, wide open is exactly what Joseph Lester and Jeff Carson are right now, as they have standing on the throttle. And right now on the inside line here, and you can see them with Jeff Carson, Chris Claude, and Bob Nestor in the 9, 10, and 29. Those teammates all linked up with the Joe Gibbs Racing family right here on the inside line. They have managed to drive themselves up here to 2, 4th, and 6th. And once again, you know, we're going to ride along with Chris Claude here, as it just seems like going down the backstretch, almost every time we go out of turn 2, he is getting loose and down. We almost see it here coming out of 4. We're going to watch it coming out of 2, and we'll switch over here to the chopper. Go to the chopper as the 10 car. We're watching him kind of weave, and maybe it's some disturbed air behind his teammate Jeff Carson. But look, you know, Chris is flirting with that red and white line denoting the racing surface from out of bounds, and it's almost like he gets loose on entry. So he is definitely going to have to look at tightening that car up when he comes in for his first pit stop. And quite frankly, we haven't had any reasons to come in and pit, as we are now 20 laps of 163 in. So halfway through stage number 1 here. No crises yet, but we don't need any here on the Independence Racing Network. And they are 2x2 all the way back through Zachary Vaughn. So 2x2 back to 11th position. And that's when, you know, at about 12th position is when things start to calm down. Was Eugenio Alonso, the last driver in that lead pack, is just in front of Bobby Blazer, Dylan Ackert, John Timms, Ian Humphreys, Matthew Helm. You know, those EE Sports cars, they're in the 66, 46, 32, and 25. Only one Chevrolet out of those 4 cars. And Carlos Ramos is looking for the Viagra car. Carlos, if you see it and I don't, you let me know. But I don't see anybody trying to keep it up there tonight in the Viagra car. Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series is proudly brought to you by Butt Kicker, Northeastern Fire and Air, and of course our good friends over at RS Button Boxes. And we are going to step aside for just a moment here and pay some bills here on lap number 22 of 163.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
There's a new approach to lawn care, Preen One Lawn Care. Preen One does away with the hassle of multiple bags of different products. It has everything you need for a beautiful lawn in one bag. And all it takes is one application. For season-long weed control and feeding, apply the granules when the lawn is wet and weeds are actively growing. It blocks crabgrass all season. It prevents crabgrass seeds from growing. It kills the seedlings too, even when applied 4 weeks after they sprout. It's your best defense against tough weeds like dandelion, chickweed, henbit, and hundreds more. Plus, its slow-release formula feeds the lawn evenly for months to build stronger roots for maximum heat and drought resistance. Preen One delivers convenience and better performance in one package with one application. Spend more time enjoying your lawn and less time working on it. Preen One, and it's done. It's a lawn dream come true.
In 2007, Ray Riegel had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have, breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air. Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway as we are on lap number 27 of 163, marching our way as if we are William Tecumseh Sherman through the hills of the Peach State, right here toward lap number 40, which will denote the end of stage number 1. I'm Dave Riegel here on the ones and twos, everything in between, in the Independence Racing Network broadcast booth in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania. These drivers out here, though, all hot and heavy here in Atlanta, Georgia. Joseph Lester, your race leader, followed by Josh Ward, Mike Wright, Jeff Carson, and Zach Osborne in the top 5. These drivers going to be trading positions all night long, as we are going to see, because, quite frankly, they're side by side, and every time they go through another timing sequence, your bumper may be just ahead of the next drivers, or it might be just behind the next drivers. So you never know here, especially with as close as this racing is. Here on lap number 29. Of course, going the rest of the way through the field, we have Brandon Minto in 6th. Chris Claude, who was just up front around 2nd and 3rd position, back here with his teammate Bob Nestor. They left their teammate Jeff Carson up here to do battle with our points leader Mike Wright in the number 98 Ford Performance Mustang. These drivers not going to be going to bed early tonight, as we are on lap number 30 now as they tick past the start-finish line. And, we're just going to take a quick look here at exactly what happened when it looks like Bob Nestor was passed back here. We'll take a look. And it appears Nestor almost like, I'm taking a look right here. I just want to see this. No, that may just be the wheel design of the number 51. It almost looked like his brakes were locking up and glowing, but it looks like Nestor able to take care of that, no problem. Mike Wright, your points leader. Now your race leader sits in front of Jeff Carson as they come through turn 4, followed by Joseph Lester, Chris Claude, Bob Nestor, Zach Osborne, Brandon Minto, Eugenio Alonso, John Bawalda, and Tony Burt rounding out your top 10. And I'll tell you what, I'm always glad when I see guys like Tony Burt and John Bawalda up here in the top 10, as those drivers practice week in and week out. And sometimes, just like you'll see in so many other racing deals here on iRacing.com. Sometimes you just get the short end of the stick, as several drivers had last night at the hands of some aggressive drivers in the Cup Series. But, here in the SNN family of racing, the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity, whoa! Chris Claude getting uncomfortably close to Brandon Minto. That was a Code Brown moment if I ever saw one. Probably more so for Brandon Minto, as it looks like Claude had just managed to get tight coming out of turn 2 as he went down to go through the backstretch. Anyway, the Xfinity Series here on the Independence Racing Network, this is some of the best racing you're going to see on the iRacing.com servers. iRating's not as high as some leagues, but I'll tell you what, when you look at the incidents per lap, which is, how the MNN Xfinity Series rates the safety of their drivers. So many of these drivers are only getting 1 incident point per race, such as Mike Wright. Or we look here, and there are some, basically Mike Wright is the cleanest driver there is. Brandon Minto right behind him at 1.57 incidents per race. So these drivers atop the pile tonight, absolutely some of the safest drivers as we go through for lap number 35 here. These drivers, you can see how fast they're moving, how quick they're moving, and they're doing it with precision. They're doing it, within inches of one another. So it's always exciting, especially when you see the turn 4 region here back onto the quad oval. Jeff Carson hooked up behind Mike Wright now, securing second position. Don't look now, but it looks like Joseph Lester thinking about side drafting. Oh, side drafting. Jeff Carson gives him a rub and takes that momentum away from him. Lester does, and that will put Jeff Carson back into P3 on the inside of Lester. But don't you worry, I'm sure you can bet dollars to donuts, as Grandpa Evans would say, that Jeff Carson's going to be back for more here, as he will not be put to bed early. He has earned the spot that he is right now in our season standings there, running in 4th, and he's hungry. You can do a lot of things out here on the racetrack to make the racing experience exciting, but the one thing that you can't take away from these folks is their hunger. If you're out there and you're not hungry and you're just logging laps, riding around, oh ho hum, you're not going to have an exciting night. But right now, Jeff Carson, who puts the work in and week out, has earned himself P2, and it looks like maybe even before the end of stage 1 here, he might be sniffing for the lead as Nestor gets Carson is now loose. He comes down out of turn 2. Looks like he had just had some, and now he gets together. Oh gosh. Jeff Carson just biting the inside wall there. We're going to take a look back. And we're going to take a quick look here at what happened. And we see him just getting loose coming out of turn 2 as he was wedged out of the way by Minto. And then as he comes back up onto the racing surface, Carson gets into his teammate, Chris Claude, and, the rest is history, as they say. But that'll put Jeff Carson on pit road. I'm sure he is a very frustrated driver, especially as great as he was running. And, of course, maybe I put a little bit of the broadcaster's curse on him, talking a little too much about that driver. So maybe we'll get a chance to talk to him after he has a chance to cool down there in the infield care center here in Atlanta, Georgia. However, Joseph Lester in the number 18 side by side with Mike Wright as they are starting to get loose and wobbly here to end lap number 41. That will bring out the caution. That was an excellent first stage here in the MNN Xfinity Series. Your race leader and your stage winner, Joseph Lester, followed by John Bawalda, Mike Wright, Zach Osborne, Eugenio Alonso, Brandon Minto, Bob Nestor, Zachary Vaughn, Tony Burt, and Chris Claude. We will take a moment here and try to get a hold of your Stage 1 winner, Joseph Lester. Hey, Joseph, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother?
A copy on you, man. How's it going?
Hey, man, great finish to the end of Stage 1. You guys just ran, 40 laps, no cautions. Of course, it was a little unfortunate what happened to Jeff Carson there in the 9, but, man, you are incredible out there tonight. You got that thing on speed?
Yeah, and I think the car actually handled well, too, but that might have been because I was up front. My teammate, Josh Ward, we're running the same set. I don't know if y'all saw it, but he got a little loose and up into the wall, so I know he was complaining about that. But I'm going to keep my car the same, and if I get up back in traffic, then I might have to make that same change. But for right now, it's feeling pretty good.
How was your fuel consumption out there? I know that running out front, you've got the hammer down. You're not really able to back off. Were you all right on fuel?
Yeah, I'm not necessarily sure how many laps we get. I wasn't looking at that, to be honest. But thanks for reminding me to look at that for next stage.
Well, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to entertain and inform. As I see you just beat Mike Wright off of pit road. So, Joseph, we appreciate your time here, and get yourself on back up there to your Discord.
Yeah, 10-4. Glad to be here tonight.
All right, brother. Thank you, sir. Hopefully we'll see you in Victory Lane.
Yeah, I hope so.
So quite a finish there to the end of Stage 1 as Joseph Lester manages to get himself up to P1, take home that green and white checkered flag for Stage 1. Mike Wright going to be restarting in P2. Zach Osborne in 3rd. Eugenio Alonso in 4th. Brandon Minto in 5th. Bob Nestor in the number 29 Relative Properties Toyota Supra in 6th. Tony Burt in the number 4 Chevrolet Camaro going to be restarting in 7th position. Good for Tony. Bobby Blazer, your second place in point standings for the season, has that number 90 Ford Mustang. One of only 3 Fords out in the field tonight. Going to be restarting back there in 6th position. Then Matthew Helm and Tyler Gregg are going to be rounding out your top 10 as everybody's shuffling around, getting themselves together here. And I'll tell you what, folks, that first stage was incredible. A tough break for Jeff Carson, who works all week long on those setups. Definitely not the way he wanted to end that stage, especially running in P2. But you know what? Unfortunately, things happen, and I hate to say it that way, but it's very unfortunate. Some of these drivers, like Jeff, sometimes just catch a bad break. However, Joseph Lester, not one for the bad break tonight, as we are going to take a look here at the field as we roll on through. And we see the iRacing.com pace car diving down pit road. Stage 2 about to be underway here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. They come through the Geico restart zone. Joseph Lester takes off, and we are back green flag racing at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Something you may not know, and you can always check this out online for more information, but, the opening scenes of the 1980 film Smokey and the Bandit 2 were filmed at this track, as were scenes of the 1983 film Stroker Ace. And, then I saw also while I was reading that a 40th anniversary stunt show was to commemorate the 1977 filming of the original Smokey and the Bandit had been held here at AMS in 2017. And, of course, Burt Reynolds was in attendance for that. Burt Reynolds, of course, a great actor there in the 70s and 80s. And, of course, to be honest, I don't really know him beyond, those 70s and 80s films. Your NASCAR Xfinity Series track records here on the Quad Oval are as follows. Greg Biffle set the qualifying record here with a 28.830 back on October 25th, 2003. And that 28.830 was equivalent to 192.300 miles per hour. Then your race record is held by Kevin Harvick on February 28th, 2015, who finished the race in 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 32 seconds with an average speed of 149 miles per hour. Now, of course, speaking of Kevin Harvick, who holds the track record here, kind of a somber and sobering thought, but March 11th, 2001 at Atlanta Motor Speedway here in Hampton, Kevin Harvick in his first, we are almost three wide as Eugenio Alonso down the low side of Mike Wright, but thinks better of it and slides back up. Tony Burt thought 3 wide to the low side of Zach Osborne, but also thought better of it as they come through the Quad Oval. Anyway, this was where Kevin Harvick got his first Cup win while driving for Richard Childress Racing, as he had replaced, at that point, the recently late Dale Earnhardt just a few weeks before. And, they're in that white number 29 as they wanted to rebrand the car, but, of course, had sponsorship requirements. Wow, Eugenio Alonso just slid in there. I'll tell you what, the camel can't pass through the eye of a needle like Eugenio Alonso can parallel park that Camaro between Mike Wright and Zach Osborne as they come out of turn number 2. It looks like Alonso going to try to go for the lead here as they go into turn 3, and Brandon Minto, holding the outside line steady, wisely decides not to try to get any closer to Alonso, who just plowed his way up through here to the lead of this race as they cross the start-finish line. Right now, your top 10, Minto, Alonso, Wright, Lester, Osborne, Blazer, Burt, Mack, Nestor, and Vaughn. And these drivers not going to be giving up anytime soon. As we look back here to Zachary Vaughn at the number 91, with now Chris Claude on the inside sniffing around that top 10 again. John Bawalda III in the number 51 Jack Dow Motorsports Chevrolet Camaro. Working the high side, just trying to keep himself a little bit of distance as he is looking to get up behind his buddy there, Bob Nestor. Of course, both Pennsylvania boy contingents here on the racetrack in Hampton, Georgia tonight. John Timms with Dylan Ackert, Matthew Helm, Matt White. These 4 drivers here trying to hold it together, and unfortunately, it looks like the number 32 of Ian Humphreys sitting down on pit road.
Drivers that took time, all of them within 3.5 tenths of each other tonight is going to be a very closely competitive race.
As the field works its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
Amazing looking cars already. Green flag will fly.
Oh, they're wrecking!
Well, one thing that you're going to see at this track that we haven't seen the last few weeks is a surface that's multi-group. I think this is the first multi-group surface we're going to have.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the left coast and Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series.
Welcome back to Hampton, Georgia, as it looks like the number 31, driven by Aaron Mack, working the outside of John Bawalda in the number 51. And it looks like Aaron Mack has that number 31 Hy-Vee Toyota Supra cranked up as high as he can go, but he has no help there on the high side, so he's eventually going to have to start looking for a parking place here, most likely behind Zach Vaughn and in front of Chris Claude, as it looks like they have the most amount of gap there on the low side in this lead pack. Of course, just behind them is the next pack, led by Bobby Blazer, followed by Matthew Helm, Dylan Ackert, John Timms, Tyler Gregor, I'm sorry, I will get that right tonight, I promise, and Matt Mackin. So just two main packs tonight here, as you know, we don't often think of Atlanta as being a pack racing track, but you know, with this new reimagined Atlanta, you know, one person that I had spoken to over at Sim Racing Media, he kind of thinks that Atlanta is less exciting, but I'll tell you what, as a fan of, you know, super speedways, I can't get enough of this drafting and wide open racing, just like we see Joseph Lester here chasing down Mike Wright going into turn 3, and they are all but attached by glue as they go into turn 3 and 4. We see Tony Burke getting a little shush look there on the low side, and he is followed by Bob Nestor. Bob Nestor drifting high, and we're still taking a look here just in front of them, but it looks like now Brandon Minto hung out to dry on the high side. As now Lester drops down to the low side, leaves Mike Wright out to dry on the high side with nobody but Brandon Minto to push, and now Lester leads this race as we come back to the start-finish line on lap number 64 of 163 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And folks, if you are just tuning in, this is stage 2 here. Looks like the official dependent is saying, let's go, Mac. I've got I'm not sure who J-Man 21 is, but I'm glad to try to turn these cars down a little bit. I appreciate the observation there, as I can't always hear the difference between my voice and the car volume. But back to the racing. So thank you, J-Man 21, the official dependent, saying let's go, Mac, cheering on Aaron Mack in the number 31 Hy-Vee Toyota Supra. A lot of Toyotas in the field tonight, with just a sprinkling of Fords and maybe a little topping there of Chevrolets. This is definitely not a Ford-heavy league, as you can see in so many other leagues. And, you know, the Toyotas are becoming more and more popular on the iRacing.com servers. Not really sure, you know, basically what generates all of that, but sure enough, they're popular here. Speaking of Aaron Mack, he is now working the high side of Sunday Night NASCAR Commissioner Chris Claude. And now he is still side by side with Claude going into the turn 1 and 2 complex here. And it looks like Claude going to be working the low side of Zachary Vaughn as they come down the backstretch here in Hampton, Georgia on lap number 67 of 163, working our way toward lap number 80. These drivers are absolutely on rails tonight, as it looks like Eugenio Alonso now working the inside of Lester. Lester has not done battle with him yet this season so far that I can remember, and I'll tell you what, he is going to have his hands full. If there was any kind of driver out there on the track tonight that I would say could go toe-to-toe with Mike Wright, it's Joseph Lester, and right now they are bumper to bumper here on the high side, working their way down the back stretch into turn 3, and we are 3 wide as Tony Burt takes it 3 wide. Tony Burt with Eugenio Alonso, he is the meat in this sandwich, and Joseph Lester holding his real estate ground there on the high side. My goodness, that was probably a Code Brown moment there for Eugenio, as he did not mean to get himself 3 wide at this stage in the race. Folks, welcome into the Conshohocken, Pennsylvania studios of the Independence Racing Network. Glad to have you with us tonight on YouTube.com. Make sure that you turn on those bell notifications and subscribe so that you can be notified every Monday night when we go live as the exclusive broadcast provider of Monday Night NASCAR. Proudly presented by Northeastern Fire and Air and sponsored by Butt Kicker and RS Button Boxes. We are blessed to be here, and we are having a great time as we are back to 3 wide almost, as Eugenio Alonso shooting in front of Tony Burt, hoping for a push. These two Chevrolets are as they come out of turn 2 down the backstretch with Joseph Lester in hot pursuit. Tony Burt up here, probably the highest he has been all season, your biggest mover this evening in P2. And I'll tell you what, Tony Burt, one of those drivers that I'm silently always hoping to see does really well out here, as he is just an amazing person inside and out, and make sure that everybody around him is in a good mood. And I'll tell you what, wow, he gets the rear end of that car loose coming out of 2. So Bob Nestor may be wanting to back off a little bit, but perhaps that was the cause of that car stepping out just a hair. As Nestor was that close to the rear bumper, it may have taken just enough air off the rear. We're looking back further through the field as Zach Osborne, the number 16, works his way on the high side of Brandon Minto, with Chris Claude in hot pursuit behind him. But don't look now, Bobby Blazer, who sits second in your point standings, has the number 90 Ford Mustang all kinds of cranked up 5 positions now, and is creeping himself closer and closer to that top 10 and those oh-so-coveted bonus points at the end of the stage. Now, keep in mind, when I say bonus points at the end of the stage, the top 10 at the end of stage number 1 and 2 will all be awarded bonus points based on where they're finished. So 10 points would go to the winner of stage number 1 or 2. Then the second place would get 9 points for the stage, third place 8, and so on, back down to 10th position, who would get 1 bonus point. So right now, that 1 bonus point would go to Chris Claude, and the other 9 bonus points, all 10 of them, would be going to Tony Burt. Now, I see somebody here on the low side, not sure what's going on. We'll take a look in a few moments, but now Tony Burt and Eugenio Alonso exchanging blows as they got the torches out tonight. And it looks like Alonso going to hold on to the lead for this lap here on lap number 75, and now 76 of 163. So just about 5 laps to go here in stage number 2 as we are marching ever so close to getting to lap number 80. And we have had an amazing race so far this evening, folks, as there has not been a moment to breathe as Eugenio Alonso takes the high side air from Joseph Lester, but Bob Nestor pushing the bejesus out of Tony Burt's rear bumper as these two drivers have what it takes to get up here and get those top 5 and top 10 positions here at the end of the stage. Tony Burt getting loose, but brings it back under control. Oh no, Eugenio Alonso makes contact with Joseph Lester. He makes contact with Tony Burt. No cautions. Everybody's still moving along. Uh-oh. I see the 16 sideways back here, and the 16 is now just plowing through as Zach Osborne and Zach Vaughn have now made contact with one another. They are on the apron of the backstretch, so we will stay green as Joseph Lester being chased down by Mike Wright now, with some distance now between themselves and Eugenio Alonso, your third position, followed by Bob Nestor and Tony Burt, who managed to keep it together through that. And believe you me, we will be checking in with Tony Burt as soon as we possibly can, just to see exactly what's going to be happening with that car, as he may have had some kind of damage. Lap number 79 as we cross the start-finish line. Joseph Lester, Mike Wright, and Bob Nestor now squeaking into second position. Nestor on the high side is going to be trying to borrow some air away from Eugenio Alonso as he looks to side draft Mike Wright, going down the back stretch here on the final lap of stage number 2 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And I'll tell you what, these drivers have things all kinds of cranked up. This top 5 closer than you've ever seen them before. Lester, Wright, Nestor coming across the start-finish line right here. And it looks like Joseph Lester will be your stage number 2 winner, followed by Mike Wright and Bob Nestor. So we will get a moment here to talk to these drivers, at least to Joseph Lester, in just a moment. And we are going to try to get in touch with our Stage 2 winner, also the Stage 1 winner, Joseph Lester. Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Hey, little bro, listen, I'll tell you what, you had that car all kinds of dialed in for the second stage now. I mean, obviously no need to make any changes, huh?
No, it was a little bit tight, but I think I can fix that. With a little bit of tape, but
definitely,
it felt good.
Definitely a Code Brown moment there as Tony Burt and Eugenio Alonso were trying to play the old do-si-do.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I think he pulled up and I just didn't have time to react because he got loose. But if that was on me, I apologize, and I didn't mean to hit him.
Hey man, listen, I get it. Well, get in there, get your 4 Mr. Feelgoods, a tank of Go Fast, and hit that loud pedal. We will see you, I'm guessing, more than likely at the end of Stage 3, probably on our podium, brother.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, man. Talk to you soon. Bob Nestor, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Dave. How you doing?
Hey, man, listen, great finish there for the end of stage number 2. Of course, finishing just behind Joseph Lester and Mike Wright. I mean, how do you have that Toyota moving tonight?
She's pretty good. We'll see this last stage here. We're going to have to do well, we might not have to do a green flag stop, but we'll see how the tires go. They're kind of sketchy at 40 laps, so let's see what they are at 50, 60.
Yeah, obviously tires becoming a real factor with grip, as we saw, what I assume was a code brown for you when Tony Burt and Eugenio Alonso started do-si-doing coming down through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I don't know how everybody saved it. It was good driving by everybody on that one. So, yeah, we had a couple moments where people were clipping aprons and getting up into the top lane, and we're all aware. So it's good.
All right, man. Well, listen, thank you for your time. We appreciate you. I'll get you back up to your Discord. But, sir, get that number 29 Relative Properties Toyota Supra into victory lane tonight, huh?
All right, man. I'll try.
That was, of course, your Monday night NASCAR Xfinity Series Commissioner Bob Nestor driving the number 29 Toyota Supra. One talented driver, as he has this thing all kinds of cranked up. And I do see here on the restart that it looks like Chris Claude is going to be restarting third. So Joseph Lester, Mike Wright, Chris Claude, Bob Nestor making up rows 1 and 2. Row 3 going to be Matthew Helm and Bobby Blazer, Eugenio Alonso and Tony Burt in row 4. Row 5 going to be Aaron Mack and Matt Mackin, rounding out your top 10. So these drivers all kinds of quick. And Matthew Helm now up 15 positions, restarting in 6th position. And we see those lights out on the iRacing.com pace car. So that can only mean one thing, folks. That means Joseph Lester and Mike Wright going to be bringing the field back down to the start-finish line. Mike Wright with his finger on the button as he gets his pace speed set, enters the Geico restart zone, and takes off like a crack shot here at the beginning of stage number 3, followed closely by Bob Nestor and just about going to be Joseph Lester. But just behind Bob Nestor, Bobby Blazer in the number 90 Ford Mustang, as these drivers going to be tied all kinds of tight going here into stage number 3. Of course, stage 3, folks, mind you, is one very long stage. We just had 2 stages of 40 laps, and now we're going to have one long stage of 83 laps as we head here into the final leg of this race. Bobby Blazer working the high side of Bob Nestor, followed closely and almost pushed by Joseph Lester, who is looking to get organized. But right now, Bobby Blazer looking to side draft alongside of Nestor. You can see these two getting as close as they are. And at this point, I don't see any other option but the side draft, as he doesn't have a whole lot of help behind Joseph Lester as they work their way into turns 3 and 4. Chris Claude in the number 10 Dasani Toyota Supra, working just behind Matthew Helm, your big mover of the race so far. Speaking of big movers, Bobby Blazer not too shabby, up 13 positions from where he had qualified. Of course, he knows that we have these stage breaks here, so that enables him to get the free pass, the lucky dog, to get back around onto the lead lap. So these drivers have everything turned up, and they are sweating right now in their seats on lap number 87. Unfortunately, Tony Burt seeming to have some kind of mechanical problems. We'll take a look here as he is coasting. Tony Burt may have run out of fuel. Not real sure what's going on. We'll have to stop in and talk with him if we can, but we can see that tachometer right there in the middle of his dashboard showing absolutely nothing. So we're gonna watch right here as Tony Burt, coasting down pit road, is hoping, I'm assuming, to get some fuel. He may have had a little glitch there in the iRacing.com fuel refill. Now, this four-car pack here atop the pile with Mike Wright, Bobby Blazer, Joseph Nestor, and Bob Nestor. These 4 drivers, some of the most skilled here and some of the safest at the same time. And you have tuned in at a good time if you have just tuned in on YouTube.com. Welcome to the broadcast booth. here on the Independence Racing Network. I'm Dave Regal. And of course, as you can see, we are here and ready for some exciting racing here in the third stage. Bobby Blazer atop the pile. But I'll tell you what, as I'm watching the monitor right now, just above my camera, these drivers not even close to trying to give any room whatsoever. So right now, things are absolutely heated up. Right now, I'm going to try to find Tony Burt, if I can, and we'll see what's going on here. Tony Burt, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother?
I do.
Hey, man, listen, what's going on with you sitting down there on pit road right now?
They had hot dogs down here, and they were at a good price, and I thought, with this inflation, maybe I'd get me one.
Well, you know how I feel about a good deal. I mean, you know, right now, when it's hot dogs on sale, yeah, I agree with you. Dollar Dog Day there in the pits.
So to be honest, when they teach you how to drive, you should know how to go from second to third instead of second to first.
Ah, the old missed gear, huh?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my. That's a shame, man. You were running real strong tonight, too.
I was. I'm a big fan of super speedways, as you know. We got 29 more minutes. We'll get out there and nip around the track, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, here's the thing, and I was just talking to fans about this earlier. You know, this reimagined Atlanta Motor Speedway has really become kind of a super speedway now. You know, yeah, it's like a baby Daytona. I agree with you. You know, of course, back when we were doing the fundraiser race for Brian Turnowski, you know, we were still in old Atlanta, and what a bear this track was. But man, this one is nice and smooth now.
I absolutely love it. Look, man, I thank you for talking to me. I thank my sponsors and the Lord Jesus Christ and my wife for allowing me to come down here and do this. But I think it's worth it.
Hey, anytime, brother. Listen, always a pleasure to talk to you, and good luck on getting that car repaired.
Thanks, brother. Always great talking to you.
That was the great Tony Burt, driver the number 4. And, you know, tonight, Tony Burt did not have, you know, as good of a night as he was hoping for. And, you know, quite frankly, folks, it's a situation where, you know, you just catch a bad break. You know, racing is racing. And unfortunately, you can't win every race. But speaking of winning every race, Mike Wright, who has won what feels like every race after 19 races, he has, you know, my goodness, 8 wins. He's just under, you know, what would be half of our races here. Mike Wright being chased down like somebody who owes him lunch money by Bob Nestor. Bob Nestor, your Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series commissioner, of course, a very skilled Xfinity driver. He only drives the Xfinity car, so he has nothing but practice on this Xfinity piece. And I'll tell you what, if I've got to put my money on someone right now, it's Bob Nestor in the number 29 Relevant Properties Toyota Supra. Right now, the way things look, Mike Wright, your points leader, also your race leader in the number 98 Ford Performance Mustang, leads Bob Nestor in the number 29 Relative Properties Toyota Supra. Eugenio Alonso in the number 86 Chevrolet Camaro follows him with Matthew Helm in hot pursuit In the Premier Racing setups, number 25 Toyota Supra, Joseph Lester, your stage 1 and 2 winner, running 5th right now with John Bawalda in the Jack Dow Motorsports. Number 51 Chevrolet running 6th, Chris Claude, and the number 10 Dasani Toyota Supra running in 7th. Zachary Vaughn in the number 91 in 8th with Bobby Blazer and Dylan Ackert. Dylan Ackert in the number 66 Premier Racing setup shop. Chevrolet Camaro, rounding out your top 10. These drivers have gotten themselves nice and organized, and I'm telling you right now, this is going to be the most exciting stage of the race. So, folks, if you are just joining us, we have now crossed the century mark here on lap 100 of 163 at Atlanta Motor Speedway here in Hampton, Georgia. And your race leader is also your points leader, Mike Wright, in the number 98, but he is being followed, stalked by Bob Nestor, as a matter of fact, as now Joseph Lester has decided to get back up into the dance. And, you know, Atlanta Motor Speedway, very historic track, of course. One of the older tracks, of course, you know, here it is in the heart of NASCAR country. It was opened July 31st, 1960 for a total construction cost of $1.8 million. And, you know, you think $1.8 million today doesn't buy you much more than a grandstand, as, you know, things like Jerry World and, you know, the new Yankee Stadium up in New York both opened in 2009, you know, in the billions of dollars mark, where 1.8 million, I'm sorry, is just astronomical. You know, and even now, just out of curiosity, I wanted to see, due to inflation, not that we haven't heard that word enough in your mainstream media over the last several months, but $1.8 million in 1960 would today be $17,744,756.76. So huge swing in difference there, as that's, you know, 17 times what it would have been in 1960 if it were today. So these cars, mostly single file. The only driver side by side right now is Matthew Helm on the inside of John Bawalda in the Jack Dow Motorsports number 51. Of course, John Bawalda on that Jack Dow Motorsports team. His teammate Tony Burt, that we had just spoken to a few minutes ago, down on pit road as he had, you know, caused himself a little bit of an engine problem. So, unfortunately for Tony, not the night he was hoping for. But these drivers overall have kept it clean and kept it exciting here in Hampton, Georgia, and just glad to be here with everybody. And we're going to step aside yet again and pay some ads here on the Independence Racing Network.
I know belts and hoses, not X and O's. I do O2 sensors, but not defenses. Yeah, I make a right call to keep your car in the game. Don't even need a playbook, it's all in my brain. Fuel injectors, alternators, radiators too. It's who I am, it's what I do. Never know how. Never know how.
There's a new approach to lawn care, Preen One Lawn Care. Preen One does away with the hassle of multiple bags of different products. It has everything you need for a beautiful lawn in one bag. And all it takes is one application. For season-long weed control and feeding, apply the granules when the lawn is wet and weeds are actively growing. It blocks crabgrass all season. It prevents crabgrass seeds from growing. It kills the seedlings too, even when applied 4 weeks after they sprout. It's your best defense against tough weeds like dandelion, chickweed, henbit, and hundreds more. Plus, its slow-release formula feeds the lawn evenly for months to build stronger roots for maximum heat and drought resistance. Preen One delivers convenience and better performance in one package with one application. Spend more time enjoying your lawn and less time.
The Butt Kicker Gamer 2. What you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Welcome back to the Independence Racing Network. I am Dave Regal here in our Conshohocken, Pennsylvania studios. You're watching MNN Xfinity Series action here on YouTube.com. You're watching this race on iRacing.com. And I'll tell you what, Mike Wright leads this race with Bob Nestor in hot pursuit just behind him. And that just after Bob Nestor, that's where things get hairy, as it looks like Eugenio Alonso and Joseph Lester going to be doing battle side by side here as they come through the quad oval. These drivers not going to be giving up any room this evening, as just behind Lester, it looks like the number 56. The number 56 just absolutely going at it, hammer and tongs. So things definitely, keep in mind that the 56 is a lap car of Matt White. But right now, it looks like Matt White not going to be getting a lap back anytime soon, as we have had nothing but green flag exciting racing all evening long here in Hampton, Georgia, just off of, just about an hour and a half south of Dawsonville, Georgia, and about 20 miles south of the city of Atlanta. Right now, the way things look, Mike Wright, Bob Nestor, Joseph Lester, Eugenio Alonso, and John Bawaldo III round out your top five. They are followed by Matthew Helm, Dylan Acker, Chris Cloud, Bobby Blazer, and Zachary Vaughn to finish out the top 10 at this moment. But don't look now. Right now, Zachary Vaughn has a rearview mirror filled with Tyler Greger and Aaron Mack. Whoa! What is going on back there? We're going to have to look here with John Timms, as John Timms just absolutely annihilates the 05, driven by Tyler Greger. This is definitely bringing out the caution this evening, and we will find out exactly what happened in just a second. And we can see the 05 here just plowing into the 46. We're going to take a look here at the 46 of John Timms and exactly what may have happened. And you can see the 46 just not able to keep it real steady, as he was already a lap down, 2 laps down as a matter of fact. And, these leaders coming behind him, and believe you me, as somebody who, keep in mind, there's a reason that I'm here in the broadcast booth. You go up there close to the wall, it sucks you in, and you wind up just bouncing off the wall. John trying to do a great job holding it, but when he comes back down, does not check that rearview mirror and just annihilates the 05. So we have our first caution of the evening, our first caution for incident of the evening, that is. As your race leader, Mike Wright, comes down pit road, Joseph Lester, Bob Nestor, all three of these drivers ran 1, 2, 3. We're looking to see who's going to win off of pit road. It looks like it's going to be Mike Wright, but where's Bob Nestor? Nestor beats Lester off of pit road, so they will come off of pit road. Wright, Nestor, Lester, Alonso, Bawalda, your top 5. These drivers here are absolutely dialed in tonight, and John Bawalda having what I surmise to be one of his best runs of the season.
In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have, breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air.
Drivers that took time, all of them within 3.5 tenths of each other tonight is going to be a very closely competitive race.
As the field works its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
Amazing looking cars already. Green flag will fly.
Oh, they're wrecking!
Well, one thing that you're going to see at this track that we haven't seen the last few weeks is a surface that's multi-group. I think this is the first multi-group surface we're going to have.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the left coast and Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series.
And we are back green flag racing on lap number 117 of 163. Mike Wright, your race leader, jumped out to one heck of a lead early on here in the green flag run, but he is being chased down now by John Bawalda on the inside line with Bob Nestor and Joseph Lester hooked up and ready to rock and roll here on the high side. We can see that high side starting to gain momentum and a little bit of speed as we go down. Lester gets loose. Nestor hops in front of him. My goodness, I'm not sure which is worse, Mike Wright and Matt White, or the 25 and the 91 get together back here, and the 91 is sideways. We are still green here as the 25 has now locked him up, and he is coming down. Nothing but smoke. He is now turned around. If he gets out onto the race surface, and my goodness, he manages just to keep things under control. We are going to take a look at that real fast here. And we see the 25, and it almost looks like the 25 got real close to the 90, and then the 25 is slowing down, gets wiggly, and just comes down and takes out the 91. Now the 91 manages to keep it rolling, but the 25, on the other hand, he's got those tires locked up, but far too late. So definitely not what Matthew Helm needed at this stage in the race, but we are still green here as we are on lap number 121, Wright, Lester, Nestor, Alonso. And as I was just saying, Lester and Nestor are pretty hard to, keep separate. And then, of course, Matt White, who is oftentimes out here near Mike Wright. These names sometimes, I'll tell you what, the later we get in the race, the harder they get to pronounce. As sometimes I feel a little bit like Richie Ashburn there with the old Philadelphia Phillies back from the 70s to the 90s. As you could always tell when a ball game was getting a little sideways, as Richie Ashburn started to slur a little bit more, and we're no different here at the Independence Racing Network. And speaking of which, if you are watching us on YouTube.com, make sure that you subscribe, turn on those bell notifications, and that way you can be notified every time we are live, as we are the exclusive broadcast provider of Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series Racing here on iRacing.com. Brandon Minto in our live chat saying, I may have got wrecked, but this new Atlanta is fun. I just wish I could have been there at the end when it was time to start making aggressive moves. And Brandon, you're absolutely right. And you know what? Sometimes somebody makes an aggressive move early, and you know, there's always a victim when that kind of thing happens. And, you know, you've been out there now, and of course, Tony Burt had a mechanical failure. Now the 25 of Matthew Helm about to be lapped. Oh, Nestor, oh, goodness gracious. Nestor just wrecked himself and a couple other people around him. We are going to take a look. I'll tell you what, Bob Nestor here, and we're going to take a look right here at the replay on the high side. Almost looks like Nestor was Nestor just bangs into the 86, ricochets off of Eugenio Alonso and into Joseph Lester, and that will probably end Bob's night, as well as maybe even Joseph Lester, as they are both having trouble getting running again here on lap number 125 of 163 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So as we get ready to reset here, we shouldn't see too many folks coming down pit road, as they were all just down there on lap number 114. So Mike Wright, Dylan Ackert, Bobby Blazer, and Zachary Vaughn in the number 91 Toyota Supra all stay out. But Eugenio Alonso, Bawalda, Claude, Nestor, Mac, Lester, all down pit road on the lead lap. Now it looks like Matthew Helm going to be staying out for the time being, as he is trying to get caught back up, as he is a lap down. But unfortunately, being a lap down isn't going to help him right now, as those top four have stayed out. Well, we're going to try to see, let's just see if we can check in with Joseph Lester, and if Joseph is watching the broadcast, hey, buddy, can you get on down there to the broadcast waiting room, as I guess we have some questions for you here, as what might have happened. It just looks like a real bad break. And it looks like Joseph Lester has gotten out of Discord, so unfortunately not going to be able to talk to him. In fact, we're going to see if we can get a hold of Bob Nestor right now and see if we can find him. And unfortunately, Bob Nestor not able to get onto the radio, as perhaps that radio box there in the number 29 Relative Properties Toyota Supra may have been damaged in that last wreck. So not really able to get a whole lot going with Bob, as he is back out on track in what looks like a crinkled Coca-Cola can, as he is coming back around. Did not lose a lap, so we'll see exactly what's going to happen with him. So the iRacing.com pace car lights are out. Mike Wright going to have his finger on the button as he is on the inside of row number 1 in the number 98 Ford Performance Mustang, with Dylan Ackert now in second position, up 15 spots from where he had qualified. Bobby Blazer going to be restarting in third with Zachary Vaughn on the outside of row number 2. Chris Claude in fifth, Eugenio Alonso in sixth, Aaron Mack, John Bawalda, Bob Nestor, and Matthew Helm rounding out your top 10. As the iRacing.com pace car drops down pit road, Mike Wright gets ready to enter the Geico restart zone. He takes off like a shot out of a gun, and we are back underway on lap number 128 of 163. Taking a look here at Zachary Vaughn of the number 91 Toyota Supra, as it looks like maybe he has picked up the plow that he had on the front of that piece last night in the Cup Series, as he is now chasing down Eugenio Alonso in the number 686 Chevrolet Camaro. Bobby Blazer just ahead of him, running in third right now, up 13 from where he had begun. And now side by side is the number 66 Chevrolet Camaro, sponsored by Premier Racing Setups, driven by Dylan Ackert. Running through the quad oval, he stays way above the line as we are now under caution yet again, going to see if we can find out what might have brought that out. Looks like what might have happened here was John Bawalda on the low side of some three-wide action here with the 56 driven by Matt White. And it's almost like White just got punted as Bawalda slid up into the side of him. Not really intentional, but definitely punts Matt White out of the way, and that would be the cause for our now most recent caution. So we are under caution yet again here at lap number 131. We had such a clean race going earlier on in this piece, and now it just seems like over these last several laps, things have just changed. It's almost like the wind blew a different direction, and all of a sudden, everybody's got problems. So now it's just a matter of keeping it between the lines as we have just about 34 laps to the end here of this piece.
There's a new approach to lawn care, Preen One Lawn Care. Preen One does away with the hassle of multiple bags of different products. It has everything you need for a beautiful lawn in one bag. And all it takes is one application. For season-long weed control and feeding, apply the granules when the lawn is wet and weeds are actively growing. It blocks crabgrass all season. It prevents crabgrass seeds from growing. It kills the seedlings too, even when applied 4 weeks after they sprout. It's your best defense against tough weeds like dandelion, chickweed, henbit, and hundreds more. Plus, its slow-release formula feeds the lawn evenly for months to build stronger roots for maximum heat and drought resistance. Preen One delivers convenience and better performance in one package with one application. Spend more time enjoying your lawn and less time working on it. Preen One, and it's done. It's a lawn dream come true.
In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have, breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today, and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
And we are back green flag racing as Mike Wright crosses the start-finish line on lap 133 of 163 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We are here in Hampton, Georgia with the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, brought to you proudly by RS Button Box's Butt Kicker and proudly presented by Northeastern Fire and Air. Dave Regal here in the Conshohocken, Pennsylvania broadcast studio of the Independence Racing Network. And folks, if you are just tuning in on YouTube.com, you have tuned in at just the right time, as it looks like Matthew White, active in our live chat, saying, just sickening. Didn't get that fuel in the car after the first stage. Sped, got driven into 3 separate times. You know, and here's the thing. These drivers, 99% of the time, are amongst the cleanest on these 3 series that we run here in the SNN family of racing. But unfortunately tonight, things have just gotten very hairy for the MNN Xfinity Series. And as things are getting hairier, it looks like the usual suspects have now gotten together atop the pile here, Bobby Blazer and Mike Wright, but they are chasing down Dylan Ackart in the number 66 Premier Racing Setup Shop Chevrolet Camaro. And I'll tell you what, Dylan Ackart has his hands full if he can see Bobby Blazer and Mike Wright in that rear view mirror. So if I was him right now, I would keep my pedal all the way to the floor and see how much louder I can make that throttle. As now Eugenio Alonso pushing Bobby Blazer on the high side. Looks like Eugenio's considering another 3-wide run here. Not recommended, but at the same time, as time is running out here on lap number 136 of 163, it may be soon time to start making those aggressive moves, and I'm starting to think that just as we approach about 20 to go, we are going to see drivers starting to shuffle around looking for that advantage. Of course, speaking of advantage, here in the disadvantaged department, Bob Nestor in the number 29 Relative Properties Toyota Supra not doing so great here as he is logging his laps the best he can, and we are going to try to get a hold of Bob Nestor in his number 29 Relative Properties Toyota Supra. So stand by, folks, as we try to grab him out. And we'll see if we can get a hold of Mr. Nestor. Bob Nestor, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy? Bob Nestor, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Dave.
Hey, man, listen, tough break you had there, running second. As great as you were all evening, you had that Relative Properties Toyota Supra cranked to high heaven. What happened back there?
Well, I mean, we had a lap car. Couldn't decide what lane to go in. We were too wide. He was staying low, so we were staying high, and then it just at last second everybody tried to shift, and I was either in the way or somebody needed that spot more than me, so kind of hit me and took Joseph out. We were kind of running together and having a pretty good race there our own and trying the outside. It seemed to be working out a little bit, so it would have been fun to see what it would have been at the end of the race there. But, you know, it happens. You get close racing like this and you're inches apart, you know, for most of the time. So I'm just going to stroll around back here and try and keep 10th position.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, we've been talking about it all evening here on the Independence Racing Network, how clean most of the racing is here in the Xfinity Series. I mean, you know, you have some drivers that are basically have no incidents per lap, and one of them happens to be Mike Wright. I mean, the usual suspects have gotten back up front, but listen, it was a tough break for you tonight.
Yeah, it's all good, man. I'm just glad we had a first clean 2 stages, and the racing has been real good tonight, so I'm happy with it.
All right, man. Well, listen, good luck for the rest of the way, and we'll see you at the end of this here race.
All right, brother.
That was, of course, the great Bob Nestor, your Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series commissioner, driver of the number 29 Relative Properties Toyota Supra. And we see him out there on track right now, logging laps and just trying to keep himself out of trouble. But I'll tell you what, when it comes to trouble, right now, Bobby Blazer and Dylan Ackert have found it. As Dylan Ackert, not usually up here in your top 3 and 5, is up here with his torch and pitchfork all the way out, ready to start waving it right in Bobby Blazer's face as we are under 30 laps to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Bobby Blazer leading over top of Dylan Ackert. Mike Wright, your points leader, running in 3rd right now. Zachary Vaughn in 4th. Of course, Zachary Vaughn has a plow on the front of that number 91 as he is working his way up through the field. John Bawalda with one of his best runs of the season so far with the number 51 Jackdow Motorsports Chevrolet Camaro. Matthew Helm running in 6th. Aaron Mack way back here in 7th in the Hy-V Toyota Supra. Followed by Eugenio Alonso, who's now slid all the way back here to 8th position. Not sure what's going on, maybe a mechanical issue. And Chris Claude working his way around the lap car of our good friend Tony Burt. And, some drivers tonight that have gotten an absolutely bad break. As far as racing is concerned, we're not used to seeing some of these drivers up front. And furthermore, not used to seeing a bunch of these other drivers down on pit road being repaired as long as they've been. So right now we are going to step aside and let you folks turn it up here on the Independence Racing Network. Mike Wright looking to make the move on the high side, being pushed along by John Bawalda III in the number 51. So the 98 and the 51 working together, the 90 and the 66 working together here with 17 to go now. These drivers, the 66 gets loose. He keeps it together. My goodness, that was one heck of a save there for the 66. His teammate Matthew Helm coming to provide a little bit of cushion there and keep everybody away. So Matthew Helm keeping things safe for the 66. Now these two drivers can work together, as it does make Zachary Vaughn back out of the throttle just enough to take him out of contention for this lead draft. And right now, these three drivers, Mike Wright, Bobby Blazer, and John Bawalda III, up here with the hammers and tongs all the way out in the closing laps of this race. I'll tell you what, at this stage in the game, there's nothing to do but hold on tight and strap in, because you've got nothing else to lose. You haven't, at this point, Mike Wright hasn't been in on pit road since lap 114. John Bawalda has the freshest tires on the track, well, at least in this top 5, as he has come in on lap number 130 along with Matthew Helm. So I think as we see this race start to wind down, we're going to see those tires on the number 98, the 90, and the 66 start to show their age as we start to get along here with now 15 to go. Bob Nestor trying desperately to just keep as close as he can to that lucky dog position. His teammate and team owner, Chris Claude, the last car on the lead lap, so just 9 cars left on the lead lap tonight with 14 to go as Chris Claude chasing down Eugenio Alonso, but not a whole lot of opportunity there as Alonso has quite a lead over top of him, just about a 0.8 second lead, so 0.8 of a second, and the 16 car driven by Zach Osborne between those two drivers. So we're going to keep it right here with this lead 4, as there is only 3 spots there on the podium and 4 cars duking it out right now with the pitchforks and torches. Of course, elsewhere in Atlanta tonight, actually up in Atlanta, technically Macon County, the Atlanta Braves fell to the New York Mets today, 4-1, the final score up there. So, you know, this to me is about the best time of the year, as there is nothing but NASCAR and baseball right up until we have some OTAs with the National Football League. Right now, as we look across the scoreboard, it just kind of looks like most of today's baseball games are coming to an end. Right now, Kansas City Royals leading the Detroit Tigers 5-3 in the middle of the 8th inning, getting ready to go to the bottom, so maybe Kansas City can add to that run total. At the end of 7, the Texas Rangers lead the Oakland Athletics 10-2. Then right now, the San Diego Padres, of course, my good friend Frank Marchese out there watching the ball game in Denver. San Diego Padres leading the Colorado Rockies 3-2 in the top of the 8th right now. So definitely a golden time of year as, just NASCAR and baseball is on TV. So God wouldn't have it any other way, as he can look down and watch his favorite sports and favorite drivers race. Even here tonight at virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway on iRacing.com. And folks, if you are just tuning in with us on YouTube.com, we thank you for being with us here on the Independence Racing Network. I am Dave Regal at the microphone, operating the 1s, 2s, and everything in between. And we have been with you ever since the green flag dropped, and we are working with you right up until the checkered flag flies, as now Bobby Blazer and Mike Wright, side by side going through the quad oval, are dragging along Dylan Ackert and John Bawalda as if it's absolutely slave and master here, as we are going now almost 3 wide. My goodness, as it looks like Bobby Blazer is going to be dragging along Dylan Ackert in the number 66. And I'll tell you what, when we're watching these drivers, we see the number 51 here, driven by John Bawalda, now working the inside of Bobby Blazer. He may be working his way toward his first podium of the season with 8 to go now in Atlanta. Four cars battling it out for the podium tonight. And you know what? Right now, as we're looking, John Bawalda with those fresher tires by about 16 laps, proving that he can hang up here closer to Mike Wright and Dylan Ackert. Now, keep in mind, Mike Wright is an absolute wizard when it comes to saving tires. Oh, my. Chris Claude nearly getting punted as he was trying to desperately get out of the way of these lead 4 cars. And you got to remember, there's only 3 positions on the podium. And right now, oh no, it looks like John Bawalda going to try to hold on and side draft against Bobby Blazer, but not enough, as now Bobby Blazer pulls in front of John Bawalda in the number 51 Jack Down Motorsports Chevrolet Camaro, as he is chasing down Bobby Blazer in the number 90 Ford, with Dylan Ackert in the number 66 Premier Racing Setup Shop Chevrolet Camaro, and they all are after one of just 3 Fords tonight here in the field, driven by Mike Wright in the number 98. The lap car driven by Tyler Greger in one of his first races here in the Xfinity Series, getting out of the way of now your race leader, Dylan Eckhardt, who has made his way up atop the pile, being pushed by Bobby Blazer. And unfortunately, it looks like John Bawalda may be accidentally losing that draft as Mike Wright looking to side draft Bobby Blazer. So we're going to be sticking right here as these drivers are winding down the laps with now 4 laps to go here in this piece at Atlanta Motor Speedway. The 98 driven by Mike Wright hanging on to the side of Bobby Blazer as Bobby Blazer dragging him around like a mother taking her child to the department store for a new set of slacks. And I'll tell you what, right now, Bobby Blazer's got Mike Wright by the ear, and they are marching through the store because nobody can find a pair of pants that fits. As Dylan Eckhardt leads the pack here, as Eckhardt, Blazer, Wright are going to be on the podium at this moment if the checkered flag flew right now, but don't look. It looks like Mike Wright is going to accept a little bit of a push from John Bawalda as we come through the quad oval, as Bawalda now closing in again on Mike Wright. And it looks like he is maybe going to side draft or make an attempt to side draft as he comes ever so close to that right rear quarter panel of Bobby Blazer coming out of turn 2, going down the back stretch. And Bobby Blazer gives a little bit of a shove to the 66 of Eckhardt. These 4 drivers going to be nothing but fighting here as we come across turn 4 toward the start-finish line. The white flag is in the man's hand as we are now 3 wide coming through the quad oval. It looks like nobody's going to be putting their knuckles away just yet as John Bawalda chasing down Bobby Blazer. Everything just got real tight, real fast for these 4 drivers. Now Blazer bump drafting against the 66 of Dylan Eckhardt, a car sideways on the apron, as now John Bawalda sucking up to the rear of Mike Wright. My God, they are 3 wide. The 66 goes sideways, and it allows John Bawalda to take second position as they cross the start-finish line for Mike Wright to win the race. John Bawalda in second and Bobby Blazer rounding out your podium here in third position.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
And we are back here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, waiting desperately for, right now, Bobby Blazer to get down to the broadcast booth. Hey, Bobby Blazer, Dave Regal in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, listen, great run tonight. You were up there with the old hammer and tongs as you came up 13 positions from where you had started. And, wow, just amazing.
Yeah, believe it or not, I had to use a PlayStation 4 controller to shift and all that other stuff. Not to steer and gas and everything, but my USB is having some issues. You know, you spend a bunch of money on something and it doesn't work, so I had to get that replaced. So I'm just glad I even finished. I didn't really get to race much this week, so the races I did do, I was trying to learn as much as I can. So it was clean, so that's all you could ask for. That's the only reason I got up through the pack. You know, usually with these super speedways, I have the worst luck, so I'll take what I can get here.
Yeah, and it's still funny to me to hear Atlanta Motor Speedway as being, called a quote unquote super speedway now that it's been reimagined. And I mean, you guys were flat out all night long. I mean, just an impressive race. I mean, and then there at the very end with the 66 deciding that he wanted to see what it looked like from the other direction. I mean, my goodness, what a night.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's I don't know if you've had a chance to drive it yet. The new version of the track at all, or if you did any sort of.
I have, yep.
So in the weirdest way, track tires still matter. I was sliding, man. That's what ended up happening there in the 3. Like I was dedicated to Dylan. He's my teammate, so he got up a little bit, and I was trying my best to stay off of him. And if I had 5, 10 newer lap tires, I would have been way more control, and it was just a really loose setup the whole dang time, man. So in a weird way, I enjoyed this more than I thought I would. I don't dislike super speedways, but I definitely I don't know. I trust people that we can have a fun finish like we did here. I mean, it was only 4 of us, but still, like, it's better than none of us. So yeah, I it is weird saying Atlanta's a super speedway, but I don't know. Tires still matter, and it's it's fun. That's all that matters, I guess, really, at the end of the day when I race them.
Absolutely. And listen, before we cut you loose, the pride of York, Pennsylvania, do you have anybody that you'd like to tip your cap to this evening?
Yeah, I'd like to thank EE Sports, my team. We had 3 people in the top 5 this week. We get better and better and better and better every week, which is so rewarding to see. Gentleman Spike Design, of course, for making my beautiful paint scheme. I would like to thank V-Blaze Vintage for being my main sponsor. They have the best clothing, vintage racing, Harley, all that stuff you could ever want. Thank you to Mike Wright. He's one of my favorite people that I've ever met virtually. He's such a good dude. I'm glad that he's feeling better and stuff, and I'm glad that he's here and racing. I love racing with Mike. If I could race with 30 mics, I would do it every single night. I appreciate everybody in the league, Rob, Chris, John, for everything they do. It's not hard. It's not easy. It's very hard to do this, put on full-length races with stages and all that stuff, and keep everybody in line. I just appreciate everything everybody does for this league. I appreciate you for spending your Monday nights in here broadcasting and looking at these beautiful cars virtually. I love that next week you'll get to talk to Mike during the race. Hopefully I'll get a win here at some point. It looks like he's just only person on the win, so maybe you'll get to talk to me one of these races during the race.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Listen, it has been a pleasure. It's always great to talk to you, and we will see you next week at New Hampshire. That was our third place winner on the podium. So now we go to second position. My good friend John Bawalda III, driving the number 51 Jack Dow Motorsports Chevrolet Camaro. John, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. How are you doing tonight?
I'm fantastic. Listen, you had one heck of a run tonight. I mean, this has got to be your best finish of the season, no?
Oh yeah, I finished third in the truck series at Daytona, the season opener, but that's second place to my second place finish. So I've had quite a few throughout my sim racing career. I've had quite a few second place finishes, but still have yet to be able to get that first place finish. So but I mean, I'm still a top 5 in points for the Xfinity series, so a second place will still will be nice to add to the points.
Absolutely, man. And listen, it's always great to see, when somebody who works their tail off as much as you do, especially on the equipment that you have, to finally get on that podium. So congratulations tonight in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series second place finish there on the podium. And is there anybody that you'd like to thank before we cut you loose tonight?
Well, I'd like to thank the setup shop that helps me, be able to compete every week, NitroRacing.com. Our biggest sponsors, A Lot Cleaner, Property Management and Maintenance, trackbookings.com for putting my 3/4 scale NASCAR racing simulator on their website. And all the other, HUA HQ is the, our truck series sponsor, which is a veteran organization. And everybody, all of Jackdown Motorsports season sponsors that help us out with being able to show up here every week. We have a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun to be able to do all of this racing stuff. Now being a league admin and being able to play with these 3/4 scale NASCAR simulators, it's a lot of fun, and I appreciate everything you do in the broadcast booth, and look forward to. I saw that Xfinity shirt in the background of your broadcast setup. That was a good time at Dover.
Yeah, man, it absolutely was. Trust me, I think about our trip to Dover at least once a week when I'm sitting there thinking, gee, I wonder where we're going to go next. So, John, listen, it's been a pleasure, and I'm glad to have had you here in the booth, and we will see you next week at New Hampshire.
Yes, sir, and I hope to speak to you again
Absolutely.
next week as well.
Absolutely, hopefully. All right, man, well, listen, now we're going to try to get a hold of our race winner, our pole sitter, our race winner, our points leader. I don't even know if there's any more titles that I can give Mike Wright besides just absolute banger of a driver here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. Mike Wright, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I do, and hopefully you can hear me okay. My voice is going in and out. I'm on the back end of COVID here, so talking is sometimes easier and sometimes not.
Well, trust me, I totally understand you, so I don't want to beat your throat up too bad here with this interview, but hey, listen, you got that number 98 Ford Performance Mustang up on P1 yet again here. I mean, did you have to make any changes, or were you just dialed in all night long?
Yeah, I did change it a little bit. I came in, I went with a little bit faster car and a little looser and less drag, and Brandon went with a little more downforce just for some security, and we could tell early in the race that I was able to get out front and kind of hold it where maybe some other people could run better in the pack, but once they got to the front, they had a little bit slower car. So once I saw that, then I knew I just had to get it loose enough, particularly in the 3, where uh, especially 10, 15 laps into the run, it would push enough that you'd have to kind of let off a little bit to keep it down. So a couple of adjustments each pit stop, trying to loosen it up, and finally got it to where it handled pretty well. And I think that came in to play there at the end. And then with only a small pack there, I think having the lower downforce package where it was a little bit slicker with some straight line speed by myself definitely probably paid off there.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, the other thing is, of course, you're the only driver in the field tonight who finished with a 0X. So, congratulations on the extra $10 there in your pocket tonight. I mean, just a great race. I mean, from top to bottom, this race was good. I mean, as we got later into the run or into the race itself, we started getting shorter green flag runs, than we had during obviously stages 1 and 2. But I mean, here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, everybody's starting to call it a super speedway. For some reason, it just feels weird, doesn't it?
Especially on here, it's kind of a nice middle ground. There's definitely obviously drafting, and there's definitely, I would say 85 to 90% of the lap, even on a long run, is wide open. So in that scenario, definitely super speedway style. You can't just point it and press the pedal. You still have to drive it. You still have to manage, particularly if you're in the middle of the pack, some throttle control. So, in my head, after running it with the whole race, it's kind of like a supersized truck race on a 1.5 miles, where, for 10 or 15, 20 laps, you can all run wide open in a pack. The draft is key. And then as you get a little bit longer in, you can definitely tell the handling comes into play, where that doesn't really show up too much at Daytona or Talladega on here. So I think that difference is key, and ultimately it kind of showed up towards the end, probably with cars that were handling pretty good, to not end up wrecking into some people.
Absolutely, brother. Well, listen, we appreciate everything that you've done tonight. And before we cut you loose, as always, is there anybody that you'd like to, tip your cap to this evening?
Brandon, as always, working together is what we need to do for the race. So that was pretty good. A little bit shorter preparation this time around, just because I hadn't felt too well for a week. So got well enough. I wasn't sure if I was gonna be awake enough to run after working today, first day back. So we did what we needed to tonight and got a good heading, and definitely thanks to John there at the end. I knew the other two were teammates and working together, and I picked that out about 35 laps to go. So John, I think he identified that too, so he knew we were kind of working together. So ultimately, it is drafting, and he's what helped me get to the front there. So I'm glad he got second and came away with a good finish too.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations again on the win, and we will cut you loose. So you go ahead, you celebrate, and you enjoy that win, brother.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Well, folks, another one in the books here at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. We'll see exactly where everybody shakes out once we come back to New Hampshire next week as far as where these points are going to go. But for this evening, that should wrap things up. We're going to take a look at our final grid here. Of course, Mike Wright takes home the win tonight, with John Bawalda joining him on the podium in second and Bobby Blazer in third. Then Dylan Eckhardt finishes in fourth position. Matthew Helm rounds out the top five. Zachary Vaughn, Eugenio Alonso in the number 86 Chevrolet, with Chris Claude, Aaron Mack, and Zach Osborne in the number 16, rounding out your top 10. Bob Nestor, your Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series commissioner, finishes in 11th position. Tyler Greger in 12th. Matt White, Joseph Lester, Tony Burt finish out your top 15. Matt Mackin finishes 16th. John Timms in 17th. Brandon Minto and Ian Humphreys in 18th and 19th, respectively. Josh Ward in the number 1 Chevrolet finishes 20th. And Jeff Carson, the last car to have taken laps tonight, finishes in 21st, as Jarrett Phillips did not take the starting grid tonight. So for everybody here at the Independence Racing Network, folks, I'm Dave Regal saying thanks for listening, and we will see you next week. Good night, everybody.